Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, May 1st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a quick couple clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing as I talk, and along with the candlestick there, that'll also be moving. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. Stock number one here, TOP, and the reason why that price is not moving right now is the stock is currently halted. And no, you're not seeing this wrong, but yesterday when I was doing this video, I was talking about like right around, I think, $20 as a key breakout point. And then today it went all the way up to, like $250. So we have a classic short squeeze here, and the biggest one that I can remember in a very long time. But short squeeze underway, a lot of people watching it. This is definitely one of these situations where if you're going to trade it, reduce position size a whole lot because the spreads are huge, very volatile. In fact, I did trade it today just because, and I traded it with 5 shares just because, and I still made 25 bucks on it, meaning I made $5 per share, but that's how quick it was, and the whole trade lasted like 30 seconds, but I still made $5 per share. But point here being is, if you're going to trade these sorts of ones, then, and you can see right now, it is back open, just reduce that position size. But a couple of very well-defined levels, which is always a good thing because when you have well-defined levels, you can potentially get self-fulfilling prophecies. So right there, that resistance trend line is one where there are no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that the price goes up to that trend line and can get a break up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly, again, not a guaranteed outcome, but an outcome with some rationale behind it. As far as areas of support, have a little bit of a double bottom right here at about $87. You can see right there, bounce from it. And then during this most recent move down, didn't hit it exactly, but got pretty quick. So, is this going to lead to a bigger bounce going into next week? We'll see what happens with it. But like I said, if you like volatile stocks, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, MEGL, another big mover today. So let's get some levels mapped out here headed into next week. So same general idea right here. You got to think that a lot of people have probably drawn a trend line very similar to that, are going to be watching this dynamic here. Can the price push up through that level? So I don't want to repeat myself, but just again, quickly to reiterate, no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that the price comes up there and can push up through that trend line, that break could create a buying pressure? Absolutely. In terms of levels of support, pretty well-defined level down here. You can see that the price got down around this area more earlier on in the day, but right around that $3 mark, you can see several occasions down there, and it did hold strong. And then maybe just to convert this into an overall pattern and keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, you have the explosion right there. For you golfers out there, we'll make it a little bit more visual, put the golf ball down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, if you like stocks down below $10, keep an eye on it. Next one here, HUDI, and not a whole lot to report from a pattern perspective other than the fact of the idea of a watch list is to find unique, to find interesting situations and not rush out and randomly buy things, but to watch it. And I would definitely consider this a current very unique situation. In fact, is this going to be another one of these, TOP stocks? You never know, but this thing started off the day down here below $5 and is now pushing potentially $14. So there's definitely a short squeeze dynamic here going on. Will it get bigger? Will it explode that much more? I have no idea. But again, no technical patterns per se. I suppose you could call this some sort of pullback level right there around $10. But my main dynamic here is as I speak, you can see volume is coming in strong. Last 30 minutes, big green candle. Does this carry into more action next week? We'll see what happens. Next one, FRC. This will mean a bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, but tracking this one's been in the news, and today, even more bad news for it. Hence the price coming down here, testing that trend line right there, and it did break through the trend line. You can see that's what opened up the floodgates, and down it went. But it's still one of these stocks where every day in the news, absolute beat down, and you just never know with these sorts of stocks. All it takes is one sort of news, and the news could still be bad, but it's not as bad as what it was thought, and that can be the dynamite that gets this thing moving in the upwards direction. So, like I said, very unique situations where a stock is in the news so much and, always being talked about. But this is also why risk management matters very much because, if this thing is as bad as it gets and this thing's going down to penny stock status and below, then, that's always real too. So you got to be able to cut those losses. But just from a technical point of view and some interesting dynamics, let's see if the price can maybe come back down there to that $2.95 mark and potentially get some sort of double bottom. We have a bottom right there. Does it come down here, find support, and go back up again? No guarantees, but is that a plausible, is that a rational way to approach it? Absolutely. Again, assuming that you can be disciplined and honor stops, because that doesn't mean it's going to be double bottom. It could just continue to crash. But relative to what would be risked, if you do get some sort of bounce, or better yet, a full-blown reversal, then you could be looking at a very interesting risk-reward scenario. Next one here, AMC, very, very nice day, and the price is currently knocking on the door here. Now, I am going to adjust this level of resistance, but the key question is, what direction is this resistance being adjusted? I'm going to go ahead, now that we have more data, and it seems as though the more accurate area of resistance right up there at $5.55, and whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted in the upwards direction, that's always a good thing, because that represents the price is pushing higher and higher. But by making that adjustment, you can see that it more accurately represents that area of resistance, and then multiple times today, couldn't quite push through it. But the good news is the price is once again knocking on the door, not very far away at all. So that's the interesting dynamic from the near-term standpoint. And then if you just take a step back and look at things from more of a bigger picture standpoint, let me zoom this out here a little bit. You can see very clearly that price continues to put in higher lows. Price continues to put in higher highs, and from a trend building standpoint, that's what it's all about. So good overarching standpoint, and then from a more so, like I said, a near-term standpoint, is that breakout coming? Are the bulls about to get another round of momentum? Monday should be fun. Real quick, wanted to personally invite you to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this. Can you tell it's Friday? But get signed up for this free live class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen up to this point, and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency, to manage risk, then definitely get signed up for this free live class next week. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, MULN, and I did not think I'd be doing it as soon as what I am, because the price, let me add up a little bit more context here. So price made a very, very impressive move here, exploded, and then just completely dropped all the way back down. So essentially a little pump and dump here, and I thought, okay, this thing's probably going to go off into oblivion for a while. But no, today you can see volume has actually shown some good solid comeback. Price is actually headed back upwards, which means we can ask a very interesting question. Is another surge of momentum coming in? Is another move like this going to happen? Now, of course, no guarantees. And of course, like I said earlier, you don't randomly rush out and buy stuff. But that's the point of a watch list, to find those unique, to find interesting situations, and throw out some questions and watch and see how the price continues to behave. So maybe this means nothing. Maybe this is going to roll back over. Completely a possibility. Again, that's why risk management matters. But that is a two-sided coin, because, well, I mean, maybe this is the leading indicator and a much bigger move is coming once again. So worth keeping an eye on, especially if you like these penny stocks. Next one here, SNAP, Snapchat. Very basic premise. Got a nice, well-defined little pattern, and it's Snapchat. Pretty popular stock, beat down a whole lot. So you got to think that a lot of people are watching this one because people just like to buy popular stocks when they're beat down. And then, like I said, you combine all that with the fact that there's a very well-defined pattern here. So top of the pattern resistance right up there at $8.70. And then throughout the course of the day, you can see that there is actually a slight little upwards trend to it. So you could call this a bit of a small small near-term ascending triangle pattern. Now, I do realize that some people would say, what are you talking about, Clay? That's actually a bear pennant. And you're not wrong either, right? If you were to say, here we have an ascending triangle, but then you say, yeah, but look what happened beforehand. Well, there's the bear pennant pattern. But either way you look at it, the point here is that big gap down, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have traded for a while. But if you have, I'm sure you've seen stocks that gap down, and then after the gap down, they just bleed and bleed and bleed. And that wasn't the case here. It actually went sideways. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean, and I wish I could say trading was this easy, that just because the price got smacked down and then is now going sideways, oh, this is for sure the bottom. No, there are no for sure's. But is it valid? Is it plausible to think that maybe this is some sort of bottom and that there's a pop that's coming up next week? To me, that seems like a plausible outcome. Next one, TSLA, Tesla, and a very good day here once again. And to think that not that long ago, this thing was flirting down with these lows here, and now it's gotten all the way back up to where it has. So good, solid move. This afternoon has been very, very tight range, just very small candles there. But it is now knocking on the door of some key levels of resistance. The current key level, or almost, not quite there, but that 166 mark, which you can see from back here during these highs right here, could very well present a problem. But what's interesting is that right now, and I'm going to do this just kind of bootleg, but you have a nice little bull pennant pattern forming. So in my mind, it seems reasonable that if the price can get a good volume break of that pennant pattern, that the price could definitely, get that, lead to enough power where it can get up through that level. And does it go up there and test the 200 period moving average next week? Next week, yeah, sure. I don't know about Monday or Tuesday, but then again, it is Tesla, so I suppose you never know. But point here is nice little bull pennant pattern right below this key breakout point at 166. So we'll see if the bulls can get the job done or not. Next one, DXF, and yes, this chart is looking pretty rough, looking pretty ugly, but you longtime viewers know what I'm going to say next. But there can be opportunity in the ugly because this one has shown that it can move and move very quickly. I'm going to think that it gapped up, slight pullback, and then kaboom, all the way up there. It's got the potential to move, and like I said, move very rapidly. But as far as this one, yeah, it does look pretty ugly with this pullback. But if this thing can get a little bit more ugly, and the level that stands out to me that's interesting, right there at 25 cents, seems like an area where you could get some sort of bounce. But again, as I spoke earlier, from a risk-reward standpoint, you got to honor risk. Because if the price comes down here, I mean, that could very well be it's just headed down to below 10 cents. But maybe it's not. Maybe it comes down there and bounces and you get some sort of turnaround. And even if it only goes halfway up there, compared to what was being risked, you could still be looking at a very nice risk-reward scenario. But again, these are ones that you should not even think about touching if you're not going to be disciplined and manage your risk. But if you like penny stocks and if you like to try to play these potential ugly situations that you think are about to turn back to being positive, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to go up, this one will also go up. The biggest difference it just allows you access at a much lower price point, which makes it a very popular ETF. And this will mean more to those that watched yesterday's video. But if you did, then I hope you remember me talking about this resistance zone here. Let me get this mapped out. And you can see that as I speak, and that's why I like to do this when the market's still open, the price is literally knocking on the door of the top part of this resistance zone. So that first part has been eliminated. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that because, yes, that level has been cleared away. But the big question mark headed into next week, 28.25, can the price get the break up through that level? Because that is this high from way back here from several days ago. Oops, there we go. Back on that day right there. And if the price can push up through it, actually, as I speak, the price is officially now above it at 28, 25, 24. All right. But you get the idea. It's fluctuating right around that resistance level at 28.25, and the market closes in less than a minute here. But let's just go back down or squeeze things down to figure out where the next potential resistance is at if this level is broken. And you can see now if that 28.25 mark is broken, next key level right up there around the 28.50 mark. So keep an eye on that. But it's looking like the price ultimately did. Yep, markets are closed. So got the close by 2 cents above that key breakout area. But so that's a good, I'm going to leave it as a resistance just because it's only 2 cents above. But you get the idea. Very strong day. Very, very strong close to the day. And now that I think about it, given it's Friday, final 30 minutes of the week. So that'll set up a very interesting weekend to see if this thing can push up to 28.50. And who knows, maybe even get higher than that. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free live class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, May 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do 2 things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment below. Those 2 things communicate to me that you enjoy. And as long as I know people are enjoying, I'll continue to put the time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, hit that like button, leave a comment below. Get signed for that class. Everybody take care. Have a good one.